before the dot-com crash, we have kind of an interesting story. What we have here is a photo of the Windstar blimp. And to me, this epitomizes the dot-com bubble. And there's a reason for this. Not only was it because people are out there buying blimps, but when we were negotiating a deal with Windstar, we had this multi-million-dollar deal over multiple years. And it was a contract that took us probably 8 months to negotiate. We were into the very fine points of the deal, and they were trying to rewrite the contract in the final hour. The guy who was negotiating it, Jack on our team, was literally, it was like 2 days before Christmas. He was trying to fly home. He was in tears trying to get this deal done. It took 2 days and of just like negotiating over what does is mean or something like that. Meanwhile, the blimp is circling our houses the entire 2 days. I can't imagine it was anything but a coincidence, but we would walk outside and there's the blimp. And he's on the phone with their deal guys. And there's no, who knows, maybe it's telco, maybe they had the phone information. I don't think so. I just think it was a total coincidence. But to me, it was like one of those things that were like, one day we'll look back at this and laugh. But what happened shortly thereafter was actually very tragic. Of course, 9/11 happened. And the thing about 9/11 for us is that we were in the middle of a funding round. And so not only was it obviously super tragic and everything else, the guy that was going to, our deal was inked. It was papered, completely done. The guy was flying out to sign and finish the deal. We moved the meeting up one day. He flew out on September 10th from Boston. And he woke up in the morning, we went to go have the meeting, and he's like, we're done. And so deal over. We were in the red. All of the senior people in our company had focused on getting the deal done, not focused on the revenue of the company, because we're like, yeah, we got all this money coming in. What do we care about that for now, right? Because we're going to burn into the red anyway. So obviously what happened for the entire country, but definitely for us, is it was a pretty dark time, right? So we had layoffs in our company. We had a Japanese office of 20 people. We had to cut that office. And we retooled all of our business models. Scott and I both took salary cuts down to, I think, about $40,000 a year or something like that for about a year. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough times. But what came out of it was actually pretty positive because two things are interesting. We retooled all of our business models, and we took what used to be 6 months of negotiations per data center deal and chopped it down to, and it was about a 30-page agreement with all kinds of clauses and this and that and all this crap. We chopped the whole thing down to 2 pages, a one sheet of paper, front and back, sign, done. No negotiation. We gave on all the points that people were negotiating us on. It was $5,000 per physical data center per month. You could have as much urchin as you want. See, our goal was not to get every dime out of every customer. It was to be the most dominant web analytics product on the market. And to do that, we had to make it really scalable, not only from the back-end technology, but also from a front-end perspective. We had to make it so that the user using the product could get in there and actually understand what they were doing rather than having to call us every 10 minutes and say, what does this mean? How come, whatever. So we built in all kinds of help into the product and, tried to make the product really intuitive and something you could just run yourself. We also came out with, after several meetings with people up here in the Valley, it became pretty clear that installed software was not necessarily the way to go. And that had been our model for a long time. So we switched, these seemed like really dumb and obvious ideas, but at the time, it wasn't quite so obvious. But we switched, it started to become very obvious to an ASP model. And that's where we needed to go. So that's what we did. And we became pretty dominant. We had all the major hosting companies using Urchin, and many of them still do. Many of them still provide it today. I'd say it's still the most dominant on the market.